Well, agritourism activities have expanded in recent years as additional income stream for rural landowners. It's generated about $1 billion nationwide. Now, in an effort to incentivize these activities and address liability, many states have enacted agritourism statutes. Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law joins us now for a further look at this. Roger, thank you so much for being here. And hearing $1 billion in revenue, that sounds like a lot of money. And using land for agritourism, was this like pandemic driven, or did you actually see this trending prior to that happening?
Yeah, it had actually been trending up for a number of years, and we've had these statutes on the books in a number of states for quite a while. But certainly, events of the last 2 years have increased the interest in agritourism activities on the farm that can create an additional revenue stream.
You know, I have to tell you, I personally have enjoyed our farms here around Tennessee. They're holding fairs and music and getting to visit with the animals. But it did cross my mind when I'm out there, how much does their liability insurance cost? I mean, that is obviously a major concern for these landowners.
Yeah, it is. And the cost depends on what's covered. And so generally covered on a farm would be farm machinery and then equipment and livestock and farm products, depending on your operation. Not everybody has livestock. Not everybody has a whole bunch of machinery. But the more you have covered and the greater the value of those items, then the higher the insurance cost will be. And some of the things can be covered by your homeowner's policy, but the farther you get away from the home, the less likely it is that the homeowner's policy will cover it. But, and this is a key point, the policy won't cover non-farm business pursuits of the insured, such as an agritourism activity. You have to have a separate rider for that.
I see. So let's talk more about these statutes. Does a liability fall under this as well?
Well, that's the key question. The statutes are intended to minimize the liability risk when you're inviting persons onto your premises for an agritourism activity. And you really have to look at every particular state statute or the state statute that you're interested in, because they're all different. They're all nuanced. Some activities may not be covered, some might. The ones that tend to be excluded would be your roadside stands, your U-picket operations. If there's an exclusion under a state statute, I would watch for those to be excluded because those tend to be the ones that are. But basically what they're doing is that they're decreasing the liability risk by saying you're not responsible for injuries that someone sustains while on your property engaging in an agritourism activity unless you intentionally injure them. And that's the whole idea of the statutes.
So many questions, I'm sure, for so many people at home. So anybody who has land, hesitant to pull the trigger on something like this, what advice would you give and what would be the first step?
Well, study that state statute, as I mentioned, and many state extension services have bulletins that will explain their state's law. So go to your extension service, probably that county office might have a bulletin. If not, the university would have one. They can get you in touch with that and know what activities are covered and what aren't. Then consider what activities might work for you on your farm or ranch. Every situation is different. Every person's interest and skills are different. Tailor an activity that works for you.
Just great information, Roger. Thank you, as always, for joining us. That's Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law, and we appreciate your time.